Welcome back to another episode of our Eagle Perspective podcast. I'm Mike Siciliano, Dean of Students of the Upper School. I am here with the one and only Matt Corsaro,
hey, Mike,
who leads our drama department and is the chair of our performing arts department.
Good to be here.
So introduce yourself to people. You teach middle school, upper school drama. You lead our, I think, are we doing 27 shows this year?
That's at 28, but do I list everything specifically? Or?
Sure.
So in the high school, I teach Drama 1 and Drama 2, head up the VPA department, and in the middle school, I teach acting, improv, intro to theater, and intro to broadcast. And then this year we're doing 4 productions, but really the normal is 3. And we're going back to 3. I've even promised my wife I'm going back to 3.
If you count Cabaret, it's 5 this year.
True, that's true. But the Cabaret was really, my Drama 2 students, like the advanced group, they really took on the what's the word? Ownership. The lion's share of that event. Yeah. And so I didn't have to do too much except technically make sure everything was sound.
Okay, and you also lead our improv club.
Yeah, or improv team.
Improv team, sorry.
Improv team, I should say.
Yeah.
Which is funny because a lot of other schools, I don't think they've gotten it going again. So this is funny. You want to talk about time and place? The year before the pandemic, we won the NCT San Diego tournament for improv.
Are you telling me we're still the defending champions?
We're a 3-time
I love it.
defending champion.
Awesome.
Woo, 3 years in a row.
Undefeated.
What a year to win it.
Undefeated. All right. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about yourself, and then ultimately we're going to get into the arts and the role that arts plays at Santa Fe and really why you think it's important for students, even if they don't have professional aspirations in the arts. But for yourself, clearly drama is something that pulled you when you were younger to the point that you became an educator specifically focused on drama in the arts. So tell us a little bit about that journey. What was it about the arts that uniquely grabbed you?
What's funny is that I don't think, before I had ever done my first show, I don't think I ever saw myself being in theater at all.
Really?
Yeah. When I was in elementary school and middle school, I think the teachers had pegged me as just some class clown troublemaker. Like, you just think you're funny, Mr. Funny.
And you probably were.
Well, obviously.
At all the wrong times.
At all the wrong. I remember one time they gave us googly eyes because we were making some kind of arts and crafts, and I decided to glue them to my hand so I could be like, "Hello, everybody. When's recess happening?" And I was sent outside for that one.
Yeah.
But when I got into high school, the drama teacher there, Ricky Hernandez, he ran drama in a very unique way. It was not exclusive. It was very inclusive. And am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I always get the two mixed up.
Well, not exclusive and very inclusive are two ways of expressing the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, he really treated the arts like it is something that a lot of kids should have the opportunity to at least try or experience, dip their toe in the water. Because if you think about it, isn't that how you grow an appreciation for something, especially if people don't really know a lot about it? So he made it something that seemed really fun and approachable and relatable, and really that was kind of the moment that I realized this is amazing. And when we finished our first show, and there's that moment where everyone is your family's coming up and hugging you and saying they're proud, and friends and all that, and you kind of realize that's a really cool, special moment. And I wanted to give that moment to other kids. And that was really the first step in me saying, this is what I'm going to do.
And I think, as I listen to that, some of that is you found someone who saw you and your uniqueness and didn't think it was annoying, but was like, hey, this is actually a gift that you can do this stuff, and here's how you can use that.
Right. And if you think about it, every high schooler has different kinds of gifts and abilities. And true, as we're going through, childhood and middle school, do we know, the best timing on when to do these things?
No. Yeah.
But I think that also, here's what's interesting. So I forget who it was. This psychologist, she did this study years and years ago where she went to a kindergarten class and she said, who wants to be a singer, a dancer, an actress, a ballerina? And every kid's hand shot up, every single one. And what she did was she tracked that class, and for the most part, most of them were still together when they got into 8th grade. And then when they were in 8th grade, she went back to that same group of kids, and she asked the same question, and no hands went up. Now, what's interesting is, do those things become less enticing when you get older? Like, does the idea of being Iron Man become less exciting as you're older? No.
I'm more excited than ever about trying to become Iron Man,
Right.
just so you know.
Oh, yeah. Next Avengers movie, we're in. If Harry Styles gets in, then why can't we get in? So my point is, what was it that made those kids' hand not go up? I think it's because there's this vulnerability to say, this is something I'm excited about and want to do. You're scared that someone is going to go, you can't do that.
Right.
Once someone says that, that's the worst.
You start to believe it.
That's the worst. Because no one's going to, if you pick a job where here's the thing. I think, like in life, sometimes we forget that people can show ugly sides. And instead of celebrating others' achievements, we can just try to knock others down. And when that happens, you can't be celebrated for things that you do that you're excited about. All of a sudden, you're just more worried about almost hiding it from other people. Maybe I'm going off topic. No, I guess the point is that I want kids, as they're going through high school and going into that, as they transition into young adulthood, to understand, like, you have a lot of abilities and gifts and talents, and it's time to put it to use and celebrate things you can do. It doesn't mean that all of you are going to go off and become actors one day.
Right.
But it does mean that there's something in you that you need to at least take this moment in life to, get the fullest experience with it.
Yeah.
And do it with each other. I mean, we really encourage that it's a family atmosphere, that everyone kind of sticks together like in a family. And like families fight sometimes, families celebrate each other sometimes. And when you're in a family atmosphere, it makes the experience that much more memorable, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, because the reality is most of the kids that go through your program here are not going to be doing something in the arts professionally, right? That's fair to say. We have some,
sure,
but the typical kid that comes through the program is probably not going to be doing that as a career. So expand a little bit on, why is this good for them? Like, what are specific things that they're getting out of this by being a part of your program?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if somebody has incredible talents and abilities, sure, there's opportunities for them, but when you talk about, like, the percentage of making it, I mean, it kind of becomes like eventually time and place and even a little bit of luck, but it really does matter, because we encourage instinctually trusting your gut, trusting your intuition, having confidence, especially in front of an audience. Even though they may not go off and do auditions after high school, they're all going to do interviews. And how powerful is it to be able to walk into an interview at whatever company it is that you dream of working for and be able to just wow them? Or let's say you're trying to start your own company and you're looking for people to invest in what you do and what you believe in. You need to be able to walk into a room and convince everyone in that room, wow, this person is electric. They know what they're doing. Their heart is in it. You can't treat everything like it's some robotic formula. You think about it. People want a human to connect with them, and they want someone to really speak to them, speak from the heart. I feel like being a part of the arts, especially the performing arts, kind of helps give a student that ability. Yeah. And here's the other thing too, because especially with doing live performances, there's always a chance something could go wrong.
Yep.
Always. In that same sense, when something goes wrong, I feel we really help give the tools to don't panic.
Yeah.
I can fix this, and I can look even smoother fixing it than ever.
Yeah. And that actually wows people too. When they know something goes wrong and they see how you handle it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, that's almost more impressive than just doing it right in the first place.
Yeah, because everyone's going to translate those moments to down the line.
Yeah.
Well, how are they going to handle inventory coming in late?
Yeah.
How are they going to handle this or that?
Yeah.
Well, this person obviously can think on their feet.
So there's lots of skills that students will develop going through your program, whether it's for interviews, for presentations, whether, I don't know, their future employer asks them to like host a podcast randomly one day, that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, you also mentioned connection. And when I think of your program specifically, like the connection, not just that people make with the audience, but that the students make with each other is pretty unique. Like you kind of have a little family up there right now in that drama room, and there's like a whole crew that hangs out at lunch together back there. I mean, talk about what that means for those kids.
Definitely. There is such a bond that these kids share together that they really just enjoy it without even, I guess, realizing it on a day-to-day basis. For these 4 years, they share different memories and milestones together. You know, one of them gets his driver's license.
Yeah.
One of them gets asked to prom. One of them gets into XYZ college. They celebrate these things together. And on the other side of that, there are days where, you know, this person is having a rough day.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't get into that school. Someone is going through a breakup, and they are there for each other to kind of just help comfort each other. I think that's such a impressive thing to see happen. If anything, I'm more proud of that than anything that happens with a show.
Yeah.
Because that is, I think, a true identifying image of what you want to see in a program.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, when new students come in, whether they transfer in or whether they're freshmen, I tell like the seniors and juniors, I tell them aside, I'm like, you got to bring them in.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
It's so interesting you say that. I was recently at a show of yours, and I ran into a parent of a freshman who was wowed by, she was just expressing, you know, my daughter's a freshman, and it's like there's no difference between the freshmen and the seniors. Like they really welcome them in. They don't. There's no condescension. There's no. It's become a home. I feel like that's what you do in your program is you create a home on campus for a lot of our students who, you know, they find performing arts as the place where they feel the safest and the most themselves. Yeah.
I mean, and really, I think the thing that I would hope comes out of this conversation is that, the students who have experienced it and tried it out, they know how much fun of an experience it is. But those students who aren't like, they I hit the mic. They're metaphorically.
That's such a rookie move. You know, I introduced you as like the creator of podcasts at Santa Fe. You're talking about all these skills for performing arts, and you're gonna hit the mic.
You know, I am going to play off this moment in real time to show you how sometimes in life you're gonna bump a mic.
That's good.
But you gotta move forward in life.
Okay.
Even if your co-podcast host breaks you live for it, you have to move forward.
I think there's multiple sets of tire tracks on your back right now. The bus that I just threw you under.
Speaking of tracks on my back, my daughter is in this zone where like she'll wake up in the middle of the night and she'll be like, you know what'd be fun? If I just start kicking my dad's back.
Yeah.
I'm just going to like go and climb into their room and just...
So you and I have shared quite a bit. We are both in the phase of having a daughter wake up frequently in the middle of the night. So in my mind, you're so talented. Like I just kind of get mad and like pray.
I get mad.
I feel like you're like doing improv or whatever to get her to calm down and go back to bed. Like that's what happens in my head.
Are you kidding me?
That's the skills that young people don't know they need that will pay off.
There's nothing at 2 a.m. when you need your baby to go back to bed. There's nothing like, who wants to watch Coco Melon? Come on.
You're a big Coco Melon. See, we're into Bluey.
Please
in our
don't think
house.
I'm big on Cocomelon. Do you think I'm the one choosing that?
But let's be honest, the kids drive the entertainment
They
choices.
do.
At this stage of life.
Blippy is a star in our house.
Blippy is divisive in our house.
Oh, really?
Like my
Political
my
things?
3-year-old, political views.
I'm not big on Blippy.
My 3-year-old loves Blippy, and my 6-year-old, for whatever reason, I think my 6-year-old is at this stage where she feels like she should know everything that Blippy's talking about, and so it's like this I already know how to pick the cherries from the cherry tree.
Come on,
like
Blippy.
this is.
Really?
Are we really watching this? You know, she needs drama. By the way,
She wants Blippy to get into deeper things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that.
You know, like tell me how to grow my own cherry orchard. Don't tell me how to pick a cherry.
Yeah, Blippy, get with
So
it, man.
yeah, honestly,
But I am so not answering the question.
I don't even
you
remember what
asked
the
me.
question is.
The
Matt.
question was,
Well, we were talking about family, the family atmosphere.
I was talking about, okay, here's what I wanted to say. What I hope comes out of the conversation is that students there are students that come to our shows and support the show and watch, and it's kind of like they're metaphorically looking over the fence and they're like, oh, that looks cool.
But I could never do it.
Exactly. That always drives me crazy. I have so many students that are always like, yeah, but I don't sing. I don't do any of that. Well, like, I mean, that's like the singing and acting, and like that's our job to help you be better at that. And I am very good at making you look good. Not you specifically. I mean, to the kids.
Well, me too.
That's what I consider my job is like to help. I'm going to put you in a place to where you are going to shine.
Well, and you've done that so well with like I'm going back through some of the shows, and like we have this kind of tradition thing where a lot of times a bunch of the senior football players will try out for the musical.
Sure. Yeah.
And sometimes they end up with like, you know, some pretty significant like comedic roles or like dance roles that become sort of like the fan faves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you figure out how to use their talents in a way that is gonna be awesome for them.
Yeah. Or sometimes they step into theater and they totally surprise us. No one saw it coming.
Yeah.
You know, like you look at, it was years ago, like Matt Benisek.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right.
Had never done any show ever.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out and auditions his
Crushed
riff.
it.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think that's some of, and so another topic that Rod has talked a lot about, and we've done a podcast on, or will be doing a podcast on. I never know what order they release it in, but there's one coming if it's not already out.
Okay.
About entrepreneurship and this idea that one of the things we want to do here with kids is encourage them to be self-starters and to take appropriate risks and to be creative in ways that can create value, right? Not just business value, but like value for society, like the entrepreneurial spirit.
Sure.
I feel like kids get that a lot going through your program.
Yeah.
And maybe you can talk a little bit about that. Like, what are the ways you're sort of forcing them to develop those skills?
Well, let's talk about right off the bat when we audition.
Sure.
For students, there's few things in life as scary as an audition.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even though they're just singing in front of a few of us. And then there's the dance audition process. And then for some of them, there's the callback. That is incredibly scary because it's like I talked about earlier. It's that vulnerability. You're putting yourself in front of someone and risking somebody.
It's the original Shark Tank.
The original.
Right? Yeah.
We were American Idol before American Idol was American Idol.
That's right.
But so that's the first step. And then there's the risk factor of, like, let's say you get a role that you were looking forward to. Now you got to deliver. Mm-hmm. And now people are looking at you and counting on you to deliver. One of the things I tell students as we prepare for shows is if you don't master this role that you've been given, like if you don't take everything out of this role that you can, you're not letting me down. You're letting everyone in the show down. I don't know if we should put that in the podcast. That sounds so horrible.
So basically we put so much pressure on the kids.
This is the thing. Like, in life, you got to deliver at times. You have to deliver.
But you do a good job of supporting them and encouraging them
100%,
along the way.
100%.
Right, yeah.
I try to lead with like a very gentle lion's roar, where it's like they know that I got their back the whole way, and they know just like a lion, I am going to make sure that they are watched after and they are like cared for. But at the same time, like, so here's the thing. One of my biggest things I try to focus on is if there's a note to give someone, obviously you give them the note. But let's say somebody is totally just dropping the ball in rehearsal and we're a couple weeks out from a show and they've done this before correctly, but for some reason they're having an off day.
Yeah.
Because people have an off day.
Yeah.
The last thing you should do is go and berate them after rehearsal and be like, you let us down. How could you? No. If anything, you got to help them focus on what they did right.
Yeah.
They know what they messed up on. And the last thing they need is somebody to be like, hey, can I remind you of all your faults?
This feeling you have of disappointment, I would like to accentuate that feeling.
Can we all just stop and look at the... Here's the thing. Like, some of the most famous paintings in history, there are a bunch of brushstrokes that we don't see in the finished version. Because that painter, they take a step back, they look at what needs to be fixed, and they make adjustments.
Yeah.
And so what we see is the finished product. What the audience sees is the finished product. They don't see like the rehearsal process. Sure. And if things go wrong in rehearsal, one of my favorite things to say is, that's why we rehearse, everyone. Yeah. There you go. I mean, really, each of these kids, they are the the secret ingredient to what we're doing. Because if it wasn't these students, the shows that we put on, they're not the same shows at all.
Yeah, they'd be different.
Completely different. Yeah. Do you know the whole story about the mirror in my room?
No.
Okay, so it's funny because it started as a joke that I would do, and then it got translated into some really meaningful thing, which is cool. So a lot of times the cast will give me like some kind of memento after a show. And after we did Newsies, well, let me back up.
Which was a fantastic show, might I add.
You were in it. This guy appeared in Newsies, everyone.
Just a little bit.
Do you remember any of your lines?
Oh, no.
Joseph.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. But I did remember them during the show.
Oh, man.
Unlike someone who will not be named who also had a cameo.
Let's move forward. So, all right, let me back up, actually. So my theater teacher used to do this joke where if somebody would walk back into the room from like going to the restroom, he would say something like he was finishing this grand story, and that's the story of how I climbed Mount Everest, and that's how and then everyone in the room would go, oh, so the person's like, I missed the big story.
Right. Yeah.
So when I came here to Santa Fe, I was like, I want to continue that, but I'm just going to make it, and that's the secret to theater. So if someone would come back from the restroom, and that's the secret to theater. You missed.
It's good.
So anyways, we kept doing that, and it just kept this being this running joke, and then they started to realize when they would walk into the room, that is when I say, and that's the secret to theater. So if you, Mike, walk into the room, and that's the secret to theater, that's the secret. And everyone goes, oh.
Yeah.
So the Newsies crew, they gave me a mirror. And at the bottom of it, it says, and that's the secret to theater.
Oh, and you see yourself.
And so when you see yourself, and that's the secret.
It's good.
And that's a thing that I think a lot of kids can tend to forget or not think about, is the fact that they are what's going to make it special and what it is.
Yeah.
And if we run a program where kids that aren't currently in the program feel like, I can't do that, then we have failed.
Yeah.
We have to make it something where they feel like it's a party and they're invited as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. We are so lucky to have you here.
Thanks, man.
So thank you so much, Matt, for taking some time with us and for joining us today. And I know we could talk for hours. And we have. There might be some of those old podcast episodes on the internet somewhere. Have we deleted all those yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know where they exist
anymore.
I don't
either. But I'm sure they're out there. So, but anyway, just thank you for all you do for our kids and for making a home for so many of them and for teaching them so many important things.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. This has been another episode of our Eagle Perspective podcast. Again, special thanks to Matt Corsaro for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, we have plenty of other episodes. You can check us out on Apple Music, Spotify, or elsewhere where podcasts are found. You can also watch our video podcasts on YouTube, and we'll be back again with another episode in the near future. Thanks so much.